Mindanao in Meranau, that means Baha in Tagalog. Danau in Maranaw is the second largest and southernmost major island in the Philippines. It is also the name of one of the three island groups in the country, consisting of the island of Mindanao and smaller surrounding islands. Davao City is the largest city in Mindanao. The island's population is 20,375,527. Parts of southwestern Mindanao, particularly Maguindanao Province, Lanao del Sur, Sulu, and Tawi-tawi provinces, are home to a sizable Muslim population, making the island the only area of the Philippines with significant Muslim presence. Due to widespread poverty and religious differences, the island has seen a communist insurgency as well as armed Moro separatist movements. Mindanao is considered the agricultural basin of the Philippines. 8 of the top 10 agri-commodities exported from the Philippines come from here. History. Mindanao is named after the Maguindanawans, who constituted the largest sultanate historically, and evidence from maps made during the 17th and 18th centuries suggests that the name was used to refer to the island by the powerful natives at the time. Evidence of human occupation dates back tens of thousands of years. In prehistoric times the Negrito people arrived. Sometime around 1500 BC Austronesian peoples spread throughout the Philippines and far beyond. Native people of the Maluku Islands refer the island as Maluku Bisa. Mindanao Island is also a sacred home of Raja Bantaj and the Meranau, largest non-Muslim and Spanin tribe. The Aborigine of the Zamboanga Peninsula unregistered trademark S. Zamboanga del Norte, Zamboanga del Sur, Zamboanga Sibugay, Island of Basilan, and northern provinces of Misamis Occidental, Lanao del Norte, and Misamis Oriental. Spanin is believed to have established in Mindanao Island during the Neolithic era, or New Stone Age, where the period in the development of human technology taken place beginning 10,000 BC according to the ASPRO chronology. The evidence of old stone tools in Zamboanga del Norte may indicate a late Neolithic presence. Burial jars, both earthen and glazed, as well as Chinese celadons, have been found in caves, together with shell bracelets, beads, and gold ornaments. Many of the ceramic wares are from the Yuan and Ming periods. Evidently, there was a long history of trade between the Spanin and the Chinese long before the latter unregistered trademark S contact with Islam. Islam first spread to the region during the 13th century through Arab traders from present-day Malaysia and Indonesia. Prior to this contact, the inhabitants of the area were primarily animists living in small autonomous communities. Most of the indigenous population of Tausug, Maranaw and Maguindanao quickly converted into Islam except the elusive Spanin, Talandig, Higanan and some other small tribes who resisted and avoided contact with the Arabian Islamic missionaries. The first mosque in the Philippines was built in the mid-14th century in the town of Simanal. The Philippine sultanates of Sulu and Maguindanao were subsequently in the 15th and 16th centuries, respectively. In the late 16th to early 17th centuries, the first contact with Spain occurred. By this time, Islam was well established in Mindanao and had started influencing groups on big islands of Visayas like Cebu and as far north as Bohol and present-day Manila on the island of Luzon. Upon the Spaniards' arrival to the Philippines, they were dismayed to find such a strong Muslim presence on the island, having just expelled the Moors from Spain after centuries of fighting under the Reconquista. In fact, the name Moros was given to the Muslim inhabitants by the Spanish. Caesarea Caroli was the name given by Villalobos to the island of Mindanao when he reached the sea near it. This was named after the Charles V of the Holy Roman Empire. The region is home to most of the country's Muslim or Moro populations, composed of many ethnic groups such as the Maranaw and the Tausug, Maguindanao and the Bangiwingi, as well as the collective group of indigenous tribes known as the Lumad. At the beginning of the 20th century, the Moro and Lumads controlled an area which now covers 17 of Mindanao unregistered trademark S24 provinces, but by the 1980 census, they constituted less than 6% of the population of Mindanao and Sulu. Heavy migration to Mindanao of Luzon and Visayas, spurred by government-sponsored resettlement programs, turned the indigenous Lumads and Moros into minorities. Geography. Mindanao is the second largest island in the Philippines at 104,630 square kilometers, and is the eighth most populous island in the world. The island of Mindanao is larger than 125 countries worldwide, including the Netherlands, Austria, Portugal, Czech Republic, Hungary, and Ireland. The island is mountainous, and is home to Mount Apu, the highest mountain in the country. Mindanao is surrounded by four seas, the Sulu Sea to the west, the Philippine Sea to the east, and the Celebes Sea to the south, and the Mindanao Sea to the north. Of all the islands of the Philippines, Mindanao shows the greatest variety of physiographic development. High, rugged, faulted mountains. Almost isolated volcanic peaks. High rolling plateaus. And broad, level, swampy plains are found there. The island group of Mindanao encompasses Mindanao Island itself and the Sulu archipelago to the southwest. The island group is divided into 6 regions, which are further subdivided into 26 provinces. Mountains and plateaus. The mountains of Mindanao can be conveniently grouped into 10 ranges, including both complex structural mountains and volcanoes. The structural mountains on the extreme eastern and western portions of the island show broad exposures of Mesozoic rock with ultra-basic rocks at the surface in many places along the east coast. Other parts of the island consists mainly of Cenozoic and Quaternary volcanic or sedimentary rocks. Paralleling the east coast, from Bulos Point in Surigay del Norte to Cape Agustin in southeast Davao, is a range of complex mountains known in their northern portion as the Tawi-tawi Mountains and Mount Makaturing of Butig. This range is low and rolling in its central portion. A proposed road connecting Bislig on the east coast with the Agusan River would pass through a 10-mile broad saddle across the mountains at a maximum elevation of less than 250 meters, while the existing east-west road from Lianga, 30 miles north of Bislig, reaches a maximum elevation of only 450 meters. The Tawi-tawi Mountains, north of these low points, are considerably higher and more rugged, reaching an elevation of 2,012 meters in Mount Hilongilo, 17 miles along the eastern portion of Cabad-Baran City. The southern portion of this east coast range is broader and even more rugged than the northern section. In eastern Davao, several peaks rise above 2,600 meters and one unnamed mountain rises to 2,910 meters. The east-facing coastal regions of Davao and Surigay del Sur are marked by a series of small coastal lowlands separated from each other by rugged forelands which extend to the water or unregistered trademark edge. Offshore are numerous coral reefs and tiny islets. This remote and forbidding coast is made doubly difficult to access during the months from October to March by the heavy surf driven before the northeast trade winds. A few miles offshore is found the Mindanao or Philippine Deep. This ocean trench, reaching measured depths of 37,400 feet, marks one of the greatest depths known on the Earth, a unregistered trademark surface. A second north-south range extends along the western borders of the Agusan and Davao provinces from Camiguin Island in the north to Tinaca Point in the south. This range is mainly structural in origin, but it also contains at least 3 active volcano peaks. In the central and northern portions of this range, there are several peaks between 2,000 and 2,600 meters, and here the belt of mountains is about 30 miles across. West of Davao City are 2 inactive volcanoes, Mount Talamo at 2,893 meters and Mount Apu at 2,954 meters. Mount Apu is the highest point in the Philippines and dominates the skyline. South of Mount Apu, this central mountain belt is somewhat lower than it is to the north, with peaks averaging only 1,100 to 1,800 meters. In western Mindanao, a range of complex structural mountains forms the long, hand-like Zamboanga Peninsula. These mountains, reaching heights of only 1,200 meters, are not as high as the other structural belts in Mindanao. In addition, there are several places in the Zamboanga Mountains where small inter-mountain basins have been created, with some potential for future agricultural development. The northeastern end of this range is marked by the twin peaks of the now extinct volcano, Mount Maguindanao, which rise splendidly behind Ozamis City to a height of 2,425 meters. Mount Tapaya is the highest mountain in the Zamboanga Peninsula, reaching a height of 2,617 meters. Meanwhile, Batcharampon Point is the highest mountain of the southernmost end of the peninsula, reaching a height of only 1,335 meters. It is located in the boundary of Zamboanga City. A series of volcanic mountains is found near Lake Lanao in a broad arc through Lanao del Sur, northern Cotabato and western Bukidnon provinces. At least 6 of the 20-odd peaks in this area are active and several are very impressive as they stand in semi-isolation. The Butic Peaks, with their 4 crater lakes, are easily seen from Cotabato. Mount Ragang, an active volcano cone reaching 2,815 meters, is the most isolated, while the greatest height is reached by Mount Kaitanglad at 2,889 meters. In southwestern Cotabato, still another range of volcanic mountains is found, this time paralleling the coast. These mountains have a maximum extent of 110 miles from northwest to southeast and measure some 30 miles across. One of the well-known mountains here is Mount Parker, whose almost circular crater lake measures 1.25 miles in diameter and lies 300 meters below its 2,040-meter summit. Mount Matutram is a protected area and is considered as one of the major landmarks of South Cotabato Province. A second important physiographic division of Mindanao is the series of upland plateaus in Bukidnon and Lanao del Sur provinces. These plateaus are rather extensive and almost surround several volcanoes in this area. The plateaus are made up of basaltic lava flows interbedded with ash and volcanic tuff. Near their edges, the plateaus are cut by deep canyons, and at several points spectacular waterfalls drop to the narrow coastal plain. These falls hold considerable promise for development of hydroelectric energy. Indeed, one such site at Maria Cristina Falls has already become a major producer. Because the rolling plateaus lie at an elevation averaging 700 meters above sea level, they offer relief from the often oppressive heat of the coastal lowlands. Lake Lanao occupies the major portion of one such plateau in Lanao del Sur. This largest lake on Mindanao and second in the country is roughly triangular in shape with an 18-mile-long base. Having a surface at 780 meters above sea level, and being rimmed on the east, south and west by series of peaks reaching 2,300 meters, the lake provides a scenic grandeur and pleasant temperature seldom equaled in the country. Marawi City, at the northern tip of the lake, is bisected by the Agus River, which feeds the Maria Cristina Falls. Another of Mindanao unregistered trademark spectacular waterfall sites is located in Malabang, 15 miles south of Lake Lanao. Here the Jose Abad Santos Falls present one of the nationally unregistered trademark scenic wonders at the gateway to a 200-hectare national park development. The Limon Sudan Falls, with an approximate height of 800 aft, is the highest waterfalls in the Philippines. It is located at Iligan City. Plains, Mindanao contains 2 large inland-lowland areas, the valleys of the Egusan and Mindanao rivers in Egusan and Cotabato provinces, respectively. There is some indication that the Egusan Valley occupies a broad syncline between the Central Mountains and the East Coast Mountains. This valley measures 110 miles from south to north and varies from 20 to 30 miles in width. 35 miles north of the head of Davao Gulf lies the watershed between the Egusan and the tributaries of the Libganan River, which flows to the Gulf. The elevation of this divide is well under 200 meters, indicating the almost continuous nature of the lowland from the Mindanao Sea on the north to the Davao Gulf. The Rio Grande Mindanao and its main tributaries, the Katisan and the Pulangi, form a valley with a maximum length of 120 miles and a width which varies from 12 miles at the river mouth to about 60 miles in central Cotabato. The southern extensions of this Cotabato Valley extend uninterrupted across a 350-meter watershed from Illana Bay on the northwest to Sarangani Bay on the southeast. Other lowlands of a coastal nature are to be found in various parts of Mindanao. Many of these are tiny isolated pockets, as along the northwest coast of Zamboanga. In other areas such as the Davao Plain, these coastal lowlands are as much as 10 miles wide and several times that length. From Dipolog City eastward along the northern coast of Mindanao almost to Butuan City extends a rolling coastal plain of varying width. In Misamis Occidental, the now dormant Mount Malindang has created a lowland averaging 8 miles in width. Shallow Pangkal Bay divides this province from Lanao del Norte, and is bordered by low-lying, poorly drained lowlands and extensive mangroves. In Misamis Oriental, the plain is narrower and in places almost pinched out by rugged forelands which reach to the sea. East of Cagayan de Oro, a rugged peninsula extends well into the Mindanao Sea. Culture. Mindanao is the most culturally diverse island in the Philippines where people of different languages, tribes and races meet. As the Moro and Lumad alliance provided an effective resistance to Spanish colonialism, Mindanao became a melting pot of different cultures. It creates a more distinct culture which is not present in other island groups in the country. Mindanao has been the seat of two great sultanates, namely the Sultanate of Sulu and the Sultanate of Maguindanao, along with the most Hispanized city in Asia, strategic Zamboanga City. A considerable number of Buddhist and Taoist temples and the indigenous tribes known as Lumad people, which makes it more diverse. Due to the continuous resettlement programs by the central government in Manila, Cebuano is spoken by the majority of people in Mindanao. Cebuano is generally the first language in most regions, except for the Bangsamoro areas on the west coast and among the Lumuds. Tagalog is also widely spoken among the people. Hiligaynon or Ilonggo is widely spoken in South Cotabato and a large part of Cotabato Province. English is also widely spoken. The Spanish-based Creole, Zamboangueño plus or minus Ochavacano, is the main language spoken in Zamboanga City and Basilan, scatteredly spoken around Zamboanga del Sur, Zamboanga del Norte, Zamboanga Sibugay, parts of Sulu and Tawi-tawi. The dialect Zamboangueño plus or minus Ochavacano is one of the 6 dialects of Chavacano. Other spoken dialects of Chavacano language are the following: Cotabato plus or minus in Cotabato City and Castellano Abacao in Davao region. Settlers now form the majority, with 63% of the population. Moro are 32% of the population. 5% are Lumads and most of them intermarried with the settlers. The native Maguindanao and other native Moro or Lumad groups of Mindanao have a culture that is different from the main culture of the Philippines. Religion: more than 70% of the population of Mindanao adhere to Christianity. Roman Catholicism is the largest single religious affiliation at 60.9% of the total household population. Islam comprise 20.44%, while other religions are as follows: Evangelical, Aglipayan, Iglesia ni Cristo, and Seventh-day Adventist. Electricity supply: many areas in Mindanao suffer rotating 12-hour blackouts due to the Islanda Euro unregistered trademark's woefully inadequate power supply. The island is forecast to continue suffering from a 200-megawatt power deficit until 2015, when the private sector begins to operate new capacity. Aboitiz Equity Ventures, a publicly listed holdings company, has committed to supplying 1,200 megawatts through a coal-fired plant on the border of Davao City and Davao del Sur that is slated for operation by 2018. The Agas Pulangi hydropower complex, which supplies more than half of Mindanao Euro unregistered trademark's power supply, is currently producing only 635 megawatts of its 982 megawatts capacity due to the heavy siltation of the rivers that power the complex. Zamboanga City, an urbanized center in southwest Mindanao, is expected to begin experience daily 3-hour brownouts due to the National Power Corporation Euro unregistered trademark's decision to reduce power supply in the city by 10 megawatts. The Manila Electric Company, the largest power distributor in the Philippines, and Global Business Power Corporation, also a major provider, have announced plans to enter Mindanao for the first time to establish solutions for the power problems within the island. The Mindanao question. After 70 decades of settler-biased land tenure laws, changing of traditional and cultural places to Roman Catholic saints' names and even names of a general bringing in settlers, putting the crucifix on top of Mindanao mountains, formation of religious-based settler militia called Iliga led by officers of the Philippine Constabulary, Connivance of Philippine armed forces with the Iliga as a tool for counterinsurgency resulted in full-blown insurgency led mostly by the Moro, Lumads and few impoverished settlers. Cycles of displacement that have affected central Mindanao for several decades have peaked during the first decade of the 20th century. After decades of a low-intensity conflict and Maguindanao between 1976 and 2000, President Estrada unregistered trademark SA all-out war strategy declared in 2000 led to the displacement of more than 930,000 individuals. The decade that followed has been marked by a cycle of violence and resumption of peace talks between the government and the Moro Islamic Liberation Front that sought to establish an independent Islamic state in Maguindanao. The fighting led to several periods of mass population displacement at the very latest, even until the term of President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, displacing another 150,000 individuals, mostly of Moro and Lumad communities. Between 2000 and 2010, 4 out of 10 households reported having experienced displacement, 29% reported displacement caused by armed groups unregistered trademark movements, 9% identified reardos, and 9% identified other causes, such as economic displacement or natural disasters. Armed groups unregistered trademark movements were by far the most frequent cause of displacement and also the most damageable. Some provinces were more affected than others, mostly of the Moro, as they are the most active in resistance to what they perceive to be an extension of Spanish colonialism now perpetuated by the hands of the Philippine government. Areas that suffered most damage and displacement are Maguindanao, Lanao del Norte and Lanao del Sur. Other forms of violence have also been prevalent. For example, in Maguindanao, 45% of the total population reported the destruction of their home. Other forms of violence reported in that province include the destruction of goods, being attacked by someone with a weapon, witness looting, and witness killing. Political divisions. The island group of Mindanao is an arbitrary grouping of islands in the southern Philippines which encompasses 6 administrative regions. These regions are further subdivided into 26 provinces, of which only 4 are not on Mindanao Island itself. Some of the areas are semi-autonomous Muslim areas. The island group includes the Sulu archipelago to the southwest, which consists of the major islands of Basilan, Jolo, and Tawi-tawi, plus outlying islands and other areas such as Camiguin, Dinagat, Siargao, Samal. The 6 regions are: Mindanao is composed of 26 provinces, each headed by a governor. The governor is elected by popular vote and can serve a maximum of 3 terms consisting of 3 years each. As for representation in the Philippine Congress, Mindanao is represented by 46 congressmen elected in the same manner as the governors. Zamboanga Peninsula, located in western Mindanao, is an administrative region located in the Philippines. The regional center is Pagadian City. Isabela City, which is the capital of ARMM and geographically the part of Basilan, but it is an enclave of Zamboanga Peninsula. The provinces and independent cities are: Isabela City, Zamboanga del Norte, Zamboanga del Sur with Zamboanga City, Zamboanga Sibugay, Northern Mindanao. Northern Mindanao is an all occupying the north-central part of Mindanao Island, and the island province of Camiguin. The regional center is Cagayan de Oro City. The provinces and cities are: Bukidnon, Camiguin, Lanao del Norte with Iligan City, Misamis Occidental, Misamis Oriental with Cagayan de Oro City. Davao region/Southern Mindanao is one of the regions of the Philippines, located on the southeastern portion of Mindanao. The regional center is Davao City. Its provinces are: Compostela Valley, Davao del Norte, Davao Oriental, Davao del Sur with Davao City, Davao Occidental. Sixagan region. Sixagan is a region of the Philippines, located in central Mindanao. The regional center is Coronadal City. Cotabato City is a part of Maguindanao, but a part of Sixagan. The name is an acronym that stands for the region's 4 provinces and one of its cities, South Cotabato with General Santos City and Coronadal City. Cotabato City is a part of Maguindanao but a part of Sixagan region. Sarangani, Caraga region. Caraga is an administrative region of the Philippines, on the northeastern portion of the island of Mindanao. The regional center is Butuan City. Its provinces are, Agusan del Norte with Butuan City, Agusan del Sur, Surigay del Norte with Surigay City, Surigay del Sur, Island Province of Dinagat, Autonomous Region for Muslim Mindanao. Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, or also known as Bangsamoro, is the region, located in the Mindanao Island group of the Philippines, that is composed of predominantly Muslim provinces. The regional center is Cotabato City, although it is not administratively part of the ARMM. Its provinces are, Sultan Kudarat, Basilan except Isabela, Lanao del Sur, Maguindanao except Cotabato, Sulu, Tawi-tawi. See also, Mindanao Development Authority, Cesaria Caroli, Geography of the Philippines, Rirdo, Blood feuds, Bangsamoro Republic, Moro people, Islam in the Philippines, Lumad, Majapahit, Srivijaya, Sultanate of Sulu, Sultanate of Maguindanao, Regions of the Philippines, Provinces of the Philippines, 2006 Central Mindanao bombings, July 2009 Mindanao bombings, references. External links, information on conflict-affected area, violent conflicts and displacement in central Mindanao, challenges for recovery and development, Mindanao Magazine, Moro Friends Community, the catalyst for countryside development, Mindanao News, Online Mindanao, Tabone Mindanao.